All right, so welcome to our next Pro to Pro segment. So I've got one of our club fitters here, Eric Russell, and want to talk about some of the things like the challenges that I've had right now in even fitting my own kids and try and figure out kind of what's the right game plan. My son's 12, daughter's 14. I'm trying to figure out what the right game plan is. Is it light heads? Is it shorter shafts? And so kind of what's kind of the process that you do in this whole scenario? Because really kind of junior clubs now, we have some companies, especially like TaylorMade now with the light heads. Right. How do you attack this? What's kind of the best way to go about it?
It's a great question. It's always asked from a lot of parents that, kids are getting older, they're changing sizing. So, and obviously want to upgrade to clubs that can actually, fit them from a weight standpoint, obviously. Length is a big aspect to that. First off, when we have the kid come in, we just take a look at, their posture, take a look at the height. And we want to make sure first that they're comfortable with it. We'll always look at their current clubs and see how, that takes place first and see, where's the ball flight going after they're hitting. And then we can jump into, then going with some lighter shafts, lighter heads that, like you said, TaylorMade provides, and really put into their hands.
What's kind of an indicator of like when you're trying to figure out what the right weight is for the kid? Mm-hmm. Is it purely based on swing?
Yeah, it's two things. You're looking at some data, but also to looking visually and seeing how they're swinging the club. So if sometimes we get a lot of kids that the club will kind of dictate where they swing, and sometimes that's a little too heavy for them. Right. And so it's very hard for them to control it. Then the ball tends to not go the direction they want to see it. But they're really trying to, once the swing is coming downhill, mm-hmm. that club is kind of more or less taking them this path or that path. And sometimes getting them into a lighter shaft or a lighter head will help them hit these straighter shots that we're looking for.
Yeah, and so, when these are constructed, even with the light heads, they still kind of maintain the same feel.
Correct.
And everything as a normal club?
Yep. And this is exactly how that the manufacturer would build it, is the same way. So that's nice that, we're not having to put a heavier head in, but we got a really light shaft for them and a correct length. It is nice to have that lighter head that's usually 8 to 10 grams lighter.
That's quite a bit.
That's a big significant from swing weight standpoint. And they notice it right away as well too, and when they put it in their hands and they feel it. Because sometimes when you have their original clubs, they feel the head a lot, it's very heavy, and then here is kind of a unison of shaft and head together in that part, so it's not overall way too heavy for them.
Now, like U.S. kids system, like the old traditional system you're fitting with for 20 years or so, right? Yeah. It changes every 3 inches. Is that is that how often we need to be analyzing the equipment for the kids?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, obviously kids can grow differently at different stages for them. So I would say that's always a huge factor to look into.
So how do we not go super poor by changing clubs every 3 inches?
Yes.
Some of these companies have programs out there where you gradually can kind of upgrade shafts or right.
Right, and that can be as simple even from our standpoint. We have a repair department here, so it can be a simple shaft change for them as well.
It doesn't always need to be a head change.
Right, we can keep the existing heads, and we can switch out shafts. We do that a lot here as well.
One of kind of the old things too that a lot of people used to say is I'll just take my clubs and cut them down, mm-hmm. right? Yes. Or I'll just put them in a ladies set or whatever. What are some of the real detrimental things that you see that people do that think they're doing their kids a good service and they're actually detrimental to the game?
Yes, that simple aspect there of when you cut down a shaft, you're again changing that swing weight to a much heavier aspect for them, and so they are going to sometimes they're not looking at the way that the club sits in the person's hand in their posture, so they will see that'd be kind of tough for them to, again, like I said earlier, the club will dictate them a lot on the swing.
It's obviously the cheapest way to do it, but it might be too heavy.
Yes,
it's too stiff because if you think about when you take a pencil and you break it in half, and now you have half a pencil, it's a lot harder to break.
Right.
That's essentially a golf shaft, right?
Well, and another thing too I've seen in the past is they've cut down their current clubs, and sometimes the grip now won't fit properly on it. It's very loose on it. And so you have to build up a lot of tape just for the grip to stay on.
Right.
So that sometimes is not the best way to go.
Right.
With it.
Well, what's cool too is you've got actual like now it's not like it was like I'm comparing it to the past when even we were growing up or even later, like even 10 years ago fitting, right?
Yep.
Where it was like aluminum club heads and the club heads weren't as high a quality.
Yep.
Now we're just putting them straight into the highest end club head. It's just sometimes a later option, or you got like options with the woods, right, where you can change the swing weights.
Yes.
All over the board. So.
Yep, that's another part too. Once you change, even in the woods, so talking drivers, if we go less on the shaft length, we want to add a little bit more weight to it, or vice versa. Somebody just wants to feel a lighter head, and but again, adding more weight sometimes helps them swing just a touch faster, of keeping them on their plane. But sometimes it's a lot of personal preference. I'm always asking them is, how's this feel, swing weight wise, in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like an adult fitting, right? It's like look, feel, sound, all those things come into play, what you're seeing numbers-wise and everything else.
Yes. There is that transition, from the U.S. Kids family of clubs to then jumping into it. There's not really a middle, a minor league stepping stone. It just literally you're going from, kids clubs right up to kind of what they make nowadays. But yes, having different shaft options and different head options is huge for that.
You'd recommend, though, getting them, as long as kind of they're at that level, getting them into these quickly, right?
Because performance-wise, forgiveness-wise, again, they're still learning to, whether they're not always going to hit center of the face, so having a club that provides a little bit more forgiveness if it's a toe shot or a heel shot, and they're not losing huge amounts of ball speeds on that.
Yeah. So, and they're playing the same clubs dad is, so that's not always it's not always bad as well.
Nope, exactly.
Look, junior fitting is a huge thing now more than ever. It's important to make sure that your kids are fit into the right equipment if you want them to perform at their best. So, thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Hope this helps everybody. See you next time.